Welcome and welcome to the present. Yes, we are back. We are back. We are back. Oh, we guys having a very bright start to your Saturday morning or Saturday evening, regardless of where you are in any part of the world. So, how are we doing today? How we doing today? I hope we are doing great. Great. And make sure the audio from this side is coming out great. Well, it should be a great broadcast today. Feeling great. Happy to be alive. Woo! Asna. So where do we start? Where do I start this broadcast from? Let's make sure, guys, make sure you strike the like button, especially watching on the playback. Hit the like button, very, very important for the growth of the channel. It's very, very important. I don't know why you guys are so miserly with your likes. Just hit the like button. Please, let's make these videos be having a lot of likes, please, so that we can be very, very apparent in the algorithm. It's very, very important. Hit the like button. Please do hit the like button. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe and do not forget to turn on your notification bell. Very, very important. So let's start from the news that we feature around town. Victor Guterres. Now I made a video yesterday about it, and some people had some response regarding it. Now, I didn't say I don't want Victor Guterres at Arsenal. What I'm saying is that maybe I'm not just overly convinced because the Portuguese league might not be the standard yardstick to judge the lateness or the prolific nature of a striker. Because let's be fair and let's be objective. The Portuguese league is not the bread and butter. It is not the standard. It's not the yardstick. Now, I'm not saying quality players or little strikers cannot emerge from the Portuguese league. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you try and get a striker from the Portuguese league or any player, you have to look at it with a side eye. You have to look at other traits and make sure that you are not being finessed because these Portuguese clubs be demanding think ransom for their players, which they should. Their player, they have every right to demand whatever they want to demand. It's for you to work out or pay it. And when you're going to pay it, you have to make sure you do your due diligence. Now, if you look at the stats are great. You have to look at stats and apply stats in context. You can't just look at stats and get really excited about 36 goals, 14 assists. Yeah, the numbers are great, but it's playing in what I regard a league that's not as strong as the EPL. Can he reenact this form in the EPL? Nothing is guaranteed, I understand, but you have to look at other things: his technical ability, his pace, his power, his durability. Very, very important. Now, you say he played for Coventry in the Championship and he scored plenty of goals, so he has an idea of what the English league could look like, even though the Championship is not still the Premier League. You're seeing players come from Championship and not actually hack it in the Premier League, so it's a little bit a lower tier compared to Premiership. The Premiership is the elite of the elite, but at the same time, there are players that come from Championship that hit it in the Premier League. So I'm just for me it's 50-50. But if Mikel Arteta and Edu want him, I just have to succumb to the authority. I think they have enough credit in the bank because I would say 80% of their signings have been fantastic. Not all. There is no club on earth that can have 100% success rate in terms of transfer. It is impossible. There is no how good you are. It's impossible to maintain 100% transfer excellence. But if you can get 70 to 80%, you're doing a great job. You are doing a fantastic job. So if Arteta, Richard Garlick, Edu are keen on this player, there's nothing we can do about it. Even though I don't trust it, but I'll go with their gods. I'm not saying he's a horrible player. I've watched him a few extended highlights. I've not watched a live full game to make a more informed decision on him, but I've watched extended highlights to look at certain things about him. He's a good player, but I'm not so sure whether he'll be as prolific as prolific in the Premier League as is prolific in the Portuguese league. Because the Premier League defenders are stronger, quicker, better, more streetwise, more cornier. So that's why I'm looking at. Can he hack it in Premier League the way he's hacking it in Sporting Lisbon in the Portuguese league? I am not so sure. So let me know if some of you are convinced. Let me know why you are convinced. Don't just just tell me, oh yeah, look at these goals. There are a lot of strikers in the past that have scored a bucket loads of goals, go to other leagues and struggle. We've seen Sebastian Haller come to England and struggle. We've seen Skimaka come to England and struggle. We've seen Kazman come to England and struggle. A host list of players have come from other leagues, come to England and struggle. So you cannot rule that out. You cannot be overly optimistic and rule that out because you are seeing him score goals left, right, and center. And on the flip side, he can actually come and replicate the same form or even do better in the company of better players that Arsenal have, in the company of a manager that can take him the next level, Mikel Arteta. He can actually come from the Portuguese league and replicate this form and do better. So that possibility is still there. That possibility is still there. I like his statistics, right? I like his left foot, right foot shot taking. I'm just skeptical about whether he can hack it physically and technical ability wise in the Premier League. That's just my concern. Aside from that, any other thing I think is looking nice. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm being overly pessimistic, or do you think my fears have legitimate or concerns in what I'm saying? Let me know in the comment section. So let's go to another player we have been linked to. The rumor actually are swelling is ISAK. ISAK for me is what we call prem tested. He has come from Sociedad to Newcastle and he has been prem tested. But the only problem is his availability. You cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore the fact that availability is your greatest asset as a player. I don't care how little you are in front of goal. I don't care how dexterous you are in terms of skill set. You can drop a shimmy. You are good at both feet, headers. No matter how great you are, if you don't have availability, you kind of useless. You are useless. Partey is a great player. The reason why Rodri is being rated over Partey is because of availability. On a good day, if Partey is available, Rodri stands no chance close to Partey. So for me, availability is the king of all abilities for a player. No matter how good you are, if you are not available, you are useless. So I saw this comments, right? Because I made a video regarding is like why I don't want him at Arsenal. Not because he's not a good player, not because he's not prem tested, not because he will not score goals at Arsenal. If Isak came to Arsenal, he will score a lot of goals. But will he be available for us to chase a title? I don't think so. Can Isak play 6 straight games without pulling up a thigh muscle strain? No, he has this niggly muscle strains. Remember, Partey has similar issues. You can't have players who cannot play 10 straight games and you are competing for the title against the likes of Man City and Liverpool. You cannot afford that. You cannot. If you're going to compete for a title, you need players that are available. If you look at the recent signings we made in Rice and Kai, there are 2 distinctive qualities you can say. They are always available. Apart from their quality, they are always available. Kai has missed 1 game against West Ham this season due to suspension. He accumulated 5 yellow cards. Right? Rice has played virtually all the games, aside from when he pulled out in second half against Tottenham Hotspur with that back injury. He has been always present. So you need players that have to be available all throughout the game. Look at our back line. Saliba has been available for all our games. It is very imperative that all your quality players have to have availability. You cannot afford players that are playing 6 games, they are out for 2 games, they play 7 games, they are out for 3 games. You can't afford that. If you look at let's take our squad at the moment, for example. We have Thomas Partey who struggles with availability. Quality player, unfortunately, struggles with availability. We have Zinchenko. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans are used to the fact that after Zinchenko played 5 games, we are expecting him to pull up that calf injury. And we're seeing this season to do, even though this season has been better last season, but we know a calf injury is around the corner for Zinchenko anytime he plays more than 3 or 4 games. We all know that. It's priced in. We know Tomiyasu, even though I like Tomiyasu, one of the most versatile quality defender you can ever have in your squad. We know after he has played like 4 or 5 games, 6 games, we're expecting him to have an injury. And we cannot go and spend King Ransom to bring in another player in our forward line that has the same issue with injury. Even Jesus this season have been unavailable. Therefore, us to go and bring, quote unquote, a better striker to help Jesus, who has similar issues with Jesus. That does not make no sense. That is silly that we have to go and get Isak, even though it's quality, that has similar injury problem with Jesus. It makes no sense. Now, I saw this comment when I made this video yesterday. Let me share it with you guys, which is very funny. He said, what's nonsensical is simply looking at ISAK's injury record playing for Newcastle and think he's injury prone. Guy, ISAK is 100% injury prone. You might not like it. See, you have to take away your sentimentality and your attachment to players. Look at it objectively. ISAK can play 7 straight games without pulling a muscle or a tight strain. So let's not play that games or those games rather. You have to look at the players' whole playing career and assess it. Even though at Real Sociedad he had injury concerns, maybe you should do your research before posting this literature content before you debunk. I'm not saying you cannot debunk or push back on my content or my theories or my assertions, but make sure you are coming correct. Make sure you're coming with some objectivity and some sense and some logic. Don't just push back because you're triggered because you don't like what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying, is it truthful? Is it objective? Is it logical? Don't just push back because you don't like what I'm saying or you are emotionally attached to certain players. A lot of Newcastle players are injury prone. That says something about the club. The intensity of their play, moreover, you have to assess the type of injury and the span in which it takes for the particular injury the player would have to recover, and whether Arsenal Football Club has the facility to deal with said injury. This is silly. So Arsenal should go out and buy injured players because Arsenal has superior doctors. Like, this makes no sense. So you're telling me Newcastle medical staff are inferior to Arsenal medical staff? Newcastle are the richest owners in football. They're not the richest club, but they have the richest owners. You're telling me Newcastle cannot afford quality medical staff for their players. You're telling me Newcastle are playing more intensive game than Arsenal, which is a lie. Arsenal have been playing a lot of high intensity games this season. So all this thing you're just sprouting here is absolute nonsense. You are just triggered because you don't like the fact that I am not hoisting the fact that we should go for ISAK. How can you logically say Arsenal should actually go out there, know that the fact that a player has an injury record, go and buy him because we have superior medical staff? That doesn't make no sense. It's like you're trying to say, am I engaged in an accident because I know I'm going to survive it? What are the guarantees? This is very, very silly. Let me continue to read the nonsense he scribbled on this comment. Arsenal Football Club has the facility to deal with said injury. Injuries are part of the game. I understand injuries are part of the game. Therefore, it's not only factor to use to discount if a player should sign or not, because the best team know how to manage injuries. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. What are the best teams who know how to manage injuries? Show me. Real Madrid, Barcelona. Let me list out the best teams who know how to manage injuries. Oh Lord, you can buy a player who absolutely was a rock and had no injury, e.g. Partey, and suddenly become injury prone. Exactly, you can do that, but at the same time, why should you go and buy a player that you obviously knows has injury concerns? This comment is well articulated, but it's an articulated nonsense. So what you are recommending that Arsenal should actually go and buy a player after doing their due diligence, knowing that it's injury prone, still get him and hope our medical staff can deal with it. Nonsense. I'm sorry, I'm not buying this. Unfortunately, we have fans like this in every fan base who can articulate nonsense, and have people who actually support this kind of notion that the club should go and buy players who have a history of injuries and somehow will find a way to deal with it. And if said players do not recover for some injuries, same fans will change their mind because jeopardy is not attached to them. Consequences are not attached to these people. They will say these things because there is zero consequences to your actions. So as such, you go and buy injury-prone players, hoping that our doctors can fix it. Oh, interesting. Now you can't make this up. Arsenal should go and buy injury-prone players and hope our doctors can fix it. Citing that, Partey was a rock at Atletico Madrid before he came. Yes, this can happen. It's a different thing. You go and buy a player from a club who has no history of injuries and suddenly start struggling with injury. That's different. But to go and buy a player who you know has injury problems, hoping that your doctors can fix it, is insanity. It's absolutely insanity. No rational person would do that. Only fans, right? Only fans this have the nerve to suggest this kind of nonsense because the consequences and the jeopardy is not attached to them. Because they can always change their mind. But the club, after they sign these players on long-term contract and they can't do anything about it, the same fans will turn on the club for signing said players. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate, I don't despise ISAK. I think he's a quality player, but I'm sorry for a title challenging team like Arsenal. ISAK should not be considered. Not because it's not quality. We need availability. As good as you are, availability is very important. No matter how good you are, if you don't have availability, you have nothing. You have nothing. We know how great Partey is, but we've not seen Partey play more than 3 games this season because of his injuries. So I'm sorry. You might not like it. You might be in your fantasy world thinking about how, because a lot of people actually project, man, if we have Isaac and Jesus, that should be a great striking combination or strike we have. Yes, on paper, but in reality, I'm sorry, if they can't stay fit, you cannot go and bring in another striker that seems like should Jesus. Doesn't make no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. So for me, no, 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 no. It's a no, no. It's an absolute no, no to Isaac, not because of our ability, because of his injury record. And if you're going to compare to the title, you can't have players who have dodging injury records because it's going to break the momentum of your title chase, and it's not sustainable. Like you can't do that, and it's going to come with a king ransom. Isaac, let's say there's a chance Newcastle are willing to sell Isaac, nothing less than £100 million. If you think Newcastle are going to part with Isaac on a cheap, you've lost your mind. You must be living under a rock. There is no chance Newcastle are going to actually let go of Isaac on a cheap. So absolutely no for me. So let's talk about the injury concern to Bukayo Saka as he withdrew from the England camp. According to report, he withdrew 2 days ago due to a slight injury. According to report, it's not anything significant. It's just a slight is a precaution withdrawal. So which is fine. We know when a title race, we have 10 more games to negotiate in Premier League, and if you actually go past Bayern, maybe a few more games to negotiate in the Champions League. So it's just sensible that we don't risk our players in needless friendly. The friendly against Brazil and against Spain, those are not World Cup qualifiers. There is no need to risk Saka or any of our players, especially when we're in a title race. So shout out to Edu, Arteta, and especially the English FA for being reasonable to allow us to withdraw Saka from all our 10 in needless friendly. So we need to keep all our best players, wrap them in cotton wool, and make sure they are good, because in the next 10 games, after the international break, it's going to be very, very, very busy. Arsenal will be playing virtually every 3 days. Every 3 days. So you need the whole squad to be fit, hale and hearty for us to negotiate this title race. For me, we have a great chance of winning a title. And we have to make sure we keep all our players fit. We have to play the games other teams are playing. We've seen it before. In those days of Ferguson, he had to play. You have to play the game if you want to actually be part of it. You have to play the game. Shout out to Sheson Fassi, Lucky again. Shout out to you for coming through. So you have to play the game. So for me, it's very imperative we keep all our players from this needless friendly. We want no injuries. We cannot afford injuries this time of the season. We can't afford any injuries, guys. Do me a favor. There are 4 people in the building. Strike the like button. Very, very important. Strike the like button. So, like I said, it's an interesting one to deal with. Let me reiterate for those who are just joining, who were not here earlier. I've been speaking about Gutierrez, very aggressively linked to Arsenal. Do you guys want him or not? For me, it's a 50-50. But if Ateta and Edu want him, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just having my concern that the Portuguese league is not, for me, the yardstick, is not the most competitive league. But doesn't mean players can't come from Portugal and hack it in England. It's possible. On the flip side, we've seen players come from other leagues and struggle. We've seen Endo Fernandez struggling with Chelsea. We've seen Sebastian Haller come from the Dutch league and struggle. So it's not guaranteed that if you're scoring buckets loads of goals in other league that you can come to England and actually hack it. It's not guaranteed. That's my concern. And let's not forget, it's going to cost us 85 million pounds, 100 million euros to get this guy. So we have to do our due diligence. Like I said, one more time, if Edu, Arteta wanting, I have no problem. And for ISAK, Premier League tested, love to have him, but no, I'll say a capital no to ISAK because he's injury prone. You cannot buy a striker who struggles with a lot of injury problems for your title chase. He's just not. He's not the smartest thing in the world to do. As good as he is, he can't play 7-8 straight games without pulling up a muscle. You can't do that in a team that wants to just actually compete with Man City and Liverpool for the title. You cannot afford players who struggle with injury. We have enough. I can name 4 players who have in our team, in our squad presently that struggle with injury. Partey, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Jesus. Then you want to add ISAK to it. That's wasted investment. You can't do that. If you remember this past summer, we make sure we brought players who do not have injury related problems, who have availability traits. But unfortunately, Timber had that ACL. Nobody can legislate for the ACL injury. Apart from that, Raya always available. Apart from it was Copter against Brentford, couldn't use him. Declan Rice always available. Kai Havertz always available. Without Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, we will not be in the title race. Meaning, it's very imperative. Now, Kai Havertz might not be the most prolific striker, but he's doing a fantastic job. Imagine he wasn't available. Imagine Kai had similar injury problem to Jesus. There is no way we will maintain a title race. There is no way we're going to maintain a title race. So it's very imperative. We are very sensible in all these things. Don't be maneuvered or tricked by the fact that damn, on his good day, when he's available, he can score goals. He can drop a shimmy. He can dribble. He has space. Those traits are great, but you need availability to actually make those things come to fruition. So, guys, let me know what you think about all these topics. And Saka withdrawing from the English national team because of a slight injury, for me, is a smart thing to do. Arsenal need to know how to play the game. We have important games to negotiate after the international break in the league and the Champions League. So it's very, very imperative and smart we keep our players fit, hale, and hearty. So that'll be the end of the stream for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section if you're watching the playback regarding Gutierrez, ISAK, and Saka. If you enjoy my content and you are yet to subscribe to the channel, consider subscribing. Strike a like on the video. Very, very important. You strike a like on the video. And guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Is there any breaking news? I'll come on live and talk about it. But I'll be leaving for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.